everyone, and welcome to AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of all Elite Wrestling, and we are presented by Upper Deck. You see my cool sweatshirt here, woo, with the logo.
And I've got
you have
a
cool polo. Look at you being all professional and stuff. I always like that, like my sleeve says "collect the best," and I'm like, yeah, it's because it's where the best wrestle. This is great. So we're presented by Upper Deck. Collect all of your favorite wrestlers in the 2024 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. You can unwrap autograph, memorabilia, premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. We actually got some new stuff in addition to sweet hoodies and polos that they sent us. This is from their Black Diamond collection, which is brand new.
Black Diamond collection. Look at that.
Very fancy, very wintry for you ski nuts. I'm
6
actually going to open
premium cards per box.
I know, I'm excited. Okay, this is like actually a pretty huge deck in a single box. So I'm kind of curious what happens because they like, oh my God, look at this. There's like all of these cards. This is like a whole inch of cards.
Yep.
Can I measure cards in inches? Is that how this works? I don't know.
I think you can.
Here's the ASMR version.
Yes. Definitely watch this on video because
these are cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, these are so crazy. Okay. So a little bit of what I'm seeing for you people listening into the audio ones. These are all shiny, like every single one of them, which makes sense because if you name something diamond, it better be friggin' shiny. But they're all like super, super shiny.
Yeah. Let's
Kind of
see what we got
convenient to
here.
have a ring light here. Oh, these
Yeah,
are
no,
cool.
the premium cards. Wow. All right. Yeah, look at these. We've got the Professor. Look at that. And like the thickness of these cards. Like
It's
it
like
is.
I thought it was like 20 cards at once, but no, it's actually like it's one
No,
single.
you're getting
like,
you get the 6 premium cards.
that's beefy. Look at that.
Look
Serena
at that. We got
Deeb.
3-time AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida.
What do I got? I got Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. This one's got some cute cutouts on it. It's like all diamond shaped. That's cool.
Yep. I've got
What
the
else we
Christian
got?
Cage with the Collision logo patch.
Ooh, I have a logo patch. I have Max Caster with the All Out logo patch. It's really
look at
cool.
that.
These are like, it's hard to see, like even on the video, but these are like 3D printed. So it's like a whole like touchy-feely experience. It's pretty cool.
Yep, look at this. We got the former TBS champion Willow Nightingale with TBS
Yay.
championship in tow. So we're talking, this year.
We've got, this is a fun one. This is Evil Uno. And these all have little bios on the back too. But Evil Uno, host of the All Elite Arcade podcast. And I know they're also sponsored by Upper Deck. So he's probably got a bunch of these coming. I might see if he has me so I can trade him. That'd be fun. Ooh, so these are really cool. This is the Exquisite Collection Dual Relics. And I've got Jeff Jarrett and it's got like 2 little like clothy things here. I think this might be the t-shirt gimmick.
Yeah.
Do you know about the t-shirt gimmick that happens in Vegas every year?
Yeah. And look, because I got Christian Cage with
Look at that.
black.
With a black turtleneck.
With the turtleneck. Yeah.
Right. So a little peek behind the curtain.
But tell us about the t-shirt.
Right. So there is a pay-per-view typically every year. It's been Vegas the last few years just because of proximity to Upper Deck and their offices. But that is essentially where we sign all of the cards. And a lot of times the cards aren't actually produced yet. It's just a like part of the manufacturing process. So we sign legit like hundreds of these little labels that look like little mail address labels. Like that's how small they are. And it's just pages and pages and pages of these notes. And you have to basically sign all of these and then they get imprinted on the card during the manufacturing process. So it's like a rite of passage anytime someone does their first big signing thing because they show up not really expecting it. And this is where everyone's signature and how they sign things changes to as short as possible because your hand starts to cramp badly. My signature always used to be Aubrey Edwards in full and now it is Heart AE. And thank you, Upper Deck, for encouraging me to shorten my signature.
I will say, not that I encourage this, but it's something we encounter quite a bit, speaking of signatures, because, this episode, just to give people kind of a preview of what this episode's about to be, we're just talking, we're just telling some stories.
Just shooting it.
Yep. And I will say that I watch it happen all the time, but I recognize I'm not that guy, and it's not a guy I aspire to be. But I watch people get stopped at the airport all day long. Anytime I arrive at the airport, there's usually people sitting around waiting to find their favorite AEW talents and approach them for whatever they can, usually to hawk them on
hey, can you sign this thing? And then they pull out like a binder with like 6 photos, and I'm like, I'm not signing that, dude.
I remember I was there was a trick that I learned from Trish Stratus one time, which was which I then gave to Harley Cameron, which was when you personalize it, the first thing you do is ask a name and then personalize it, and then all of a sudden it's theirs and not exactly as sellable as they would like it to be.
Exactly. My course of how I kind of handle it is I don't like to sign things in public. I try to reserve that for like signings and like bigger events, but I will always take a selfie. So it's one of those, like, I want people to have a pleasant experience, and I want it to be like quick and painless. Cause like typically if I'm in an airport, like I want to get my bag, I want to go
for
eat.
Sure.
I've been on a plane for like 6 hours. So it's like, we're just trying to create a pleasant experience. But at the same time, it's one of those, like, you never really know what you're going to get. And like, kudos to the people who hang out the airport literally all day, because like we're arriving at all hours of the day.
Oh yeah. It could be at any point. But I will say this: as I was leaving, I don't even remember what city it was because they all run together at this point. But actually, I do remember which one it was. But it doesn't matter. I don't need to say it. But I heard my name called, and I was like, "Oh, it must be like somebody I know." And I turn around, and somebody had my picture printed.
What?
I know. And,
from where?
It was one of the Speedy photos from like my first day. And,
where you wore the suit?
Yeah, the suit. It was one of my suit pictures, and I was like floored that this happened because I'm like, look, I'm just Will Washington. What does this matter? But he's like, yeah. And then I go to sign it, and he's like, yeah, you could you even personalize it? And I'm like, oh, you're like, when's it personalized? Okay. And so
I'm so
did.
proud of you.
And I was like, instinctively, I went to give it my normal signature, and then I thought, I'm not used to signing things except for like credit documents, which is not the place I should use my real signature. I mean, is the place I should use my real signature,
Correct.
But not like any place else. And so I'm like, what does my autograph even look like? And so that was like a thing I had to even think about because I'm behind the scenes. I'm that guy.
It's a big moment. It's a big moment. I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
I figure out how to. What the screen savvy Will Washington signs versus what the mortgage owning Will Washington signs.
Yes, exactly.
Like, there's a big difference.
Well, I thought about it immediately in the moment and was like, okay, got to come up with a new signature. And like right now, that doesn't match my previous one. I should have just written it with my right hand because, as a lot of people know, but most people don't, I am left-handed, and so
I literally didn't know that, but that makes sense why we're friends.
Yes, I'm a lefty, and. There's a small lefty club in AEW.
Very small.
Yeah, but it is headed up by Tony Khan, who is very obviously left-handed, and so there's it is a thing. And so yeah, that was my other thought, was just sign it with your right hand, and then nobody will know.
Right?
But then
that's smart. I might do that going forward.
But either way.
Thanks to Upper Deck for giving us the opportunity to talk to this story and just segue into Will signing his first autograph.
I know that. Thank you, Upper Deck. That was great.
Freaking.
But yeah, I mean, look, we're at the end of the year.
Yes.
The end of what has been a wild 2024 for All Elite Wrestling, and we're approaching the end of the Continental Classic. We're heading into World's End, and there's just been so much that's happened this year. There's been so much that's happened this month. I'm looking at the notes, and I am curious about this story here, actually, because on December 4th, there was the Swerve versus Max Caster match that you got to referee.
Oh man, so like Stacy, our producer, intentionally put this in the notes because this popped her significantly, and she wanted me to tell the story. It's actually not that much, but like, so Nana comes out, he does this little dance, right? And now he's got like an actual Prince Nana coffee branded coffee mug that he throws out into the crowd. So if you catch that, like, bring it to him, he'll sign it. Speaking of signatures, so Nana always gets in the ring and he does this little dance, right? But he came up and he started doing it like closer to me than he normally does. And I have this problem where, because Nana and I are friends, like I've made like Instagram reels promoting his coffee because we're buddies, that kind of a thing. But when I'm on TV, I'm Aubrey, and I'm like trying to be all like serious and unbiased because I have to go into this match and officiate. So he just starts dancing, and immediately I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Wait a minute, and I like had to cut it off right away. I'm like, I'm Aubrey right now. What do I do? What do I do? How do I handle this? And it's one of those moments where it doesn't happen too often because I'm pretty good about like when I walk through the curtain, like, okay, I'm at work. I'm playing the character I play on TV. Like, here we are. I'm going to be unbiased. And then it's like, oh, MXM is your opponents tonight. I'm like, well, I'm screwed. Okay. These guys are too fun. So it wasn't too much, but it's definitely like something that, I don't know, I struggle with as someone who's like an on-screen competitor, like, or part of the on-screen competition where there's just like people backstage who I am friends with. And then on TV, like they're very scary and a heel, and it's like, oh yeah, we can't be friends in public, but here, let's go to the gym together. Like, it's wrestling is weird, man. It's really weird.
And it's crazy because like there's different levels of Aubrey that we've seen over the years, because like there's TV Aubrey who's got to be like serious, all about business, right? But then there's like AEW Dark Aubrey who, right, who is like almost playing the role of serious Aubrey, where it's very clear that Dark Aubrey's having a little more fun out there. Dark Aubrey is gonna...
Dude, you need to see like Jericho Cruise Aubrey. Like, that's the best version. Where like I'm wearing freaking board shorts, different pair every day, flipping people off in my entrance. I acted as the Guns entrance camera last year, where I had a little flashlight and I circled them and then like backed up down the road. It was so cool. Like that's the best, is like when you could just basically let loose. And I feel like even like the crowd has a good time with that, right?
Oh, for
like
sure.
that's part of what makes wrestling fun, is there's those ultra serious moments, but then there's those moments where like we all know we're just there to have fun. Like, it's really great. And we're having a lot of fun here on AEW Unrestricted. We're going to take a quick break and then come right back with more backstage stories.
AEW Unrestricted. It's Aubrey and Will. We're talking stories. We're just telling stories because this is what we do. Yeah. It's the end of the year, and it's a great time to look back. And we've got All In coming up in this July. Texas, Arlington, Texas, and this past what was it? Just a couple weeks ago, we had the All In ticket on sale. And you can get your tickets at AEWTIX.com. And we had a big event, the countdown to the ticket on sale in Arlington, literally at Globe Life Field. And it was great. It was a really cool event. Conrad Thompson was there. He got to make the StarCast announcement. Tony Schiavone got to host the whole thing.
Sting was there, right?
Yeah. So that was the story I was going to get to, because
goody.
Yeah, but it was a fun event in the sense of, we had been planning that for a little bit of time, and I kind of got tasked with formatting it, and everybody else had we had all kind of collectively put together how this was going to go, but then I had to put it to paper and make it executable, decide who had how much time for each thing, because the most important thing in wrestling is time. And the hard thing is, when you're doing a live stream like that, you're not really bound to any time restrictions the way you would be with television. We didn't have commercial breaks. We didn't have anything. But we did have the ticket on sale time, which was at the top of the hour, and this thing started at the bottom of the hour. So everybody who was in the half hour beforehand had a set time. Everybody afterward, didn't matter. Right. It was all good. But it's
like
one
a
of those
taped Rampage. It's like,
yeah,
it's about an hour.
But it was like the way we specifically had it set was that it had to be Bryan Danielson at the top of the hour, because we literally were like the final countdown to ticket on sale. So therefore we have to have Bryan Danielson top of the hour. And so, I had conversation with everybody as we usually have, which is, hey, hit your times. You've got 3 minutes here, you've got 4 minutes here, blah, 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 blah. But, the one person to have the time conversation with is interesting, because Tony was at the top of it, right? And Tony Khan has to go up and talk. And the one person who is like the biggest stickler about time in professional wrestling is Tony Khan. and and it's just funny because the one person who went over on their time was Tony Khan, and and of course, as he should. I honestly, thinking about it in hindsight, I should have allotted him more time because, of course, he was going to take the most time to speak. But I wasn't even thinking about that. I just thought about the fact that, okay, we got to make this Bryan Danielson time. And we've still got Conrad to go up there. We still have Thunder Rosa who's got to go up there. Big Boom AJ, Bobby Lashley, Swerve. Literally everybody was going to do their thing
it's
before.
Like a who's who. That was awesome.
It was, right? All before our surprise, which was, we had two surprises, Bryan Danielson and Sting. And the good thing about it all was there was one place to truly make up time, which was the fact that Bobby Lashley getting to make his speech up there and rally everybody for it. Good old Swerve Strickland, little enemy of Bobby Lashley's, was always planning on cutting off Bobby, but it was just a matter of when he was going to cut off Bobby. And so, Bobby was going to be allotted a certain amount of time, but Swerve was like, you know what? I'm going to cut him off a minute in, because why not? At this point, it'll piss him off even more. And that actually got us our time back. That got us all the time we needed right back.
This is hilarious because it's very clear you've learned all the tricks from TV and applied it to a live stream marketing event.
Yeah, and it was great. And it was, and again, that got us right on time. Bryan Danielson was able to get us to the ticket on sale. He was able to do the countdown after the ticket on sale, but he was still able to do the countdown. Of course, like I said, tickets, AEWTIX.com. But one of the fun things was that Bryan wasn't going to stay hidden through all of this. Bryan, even though he was a surprise, and we did some media interviews and all this stuff beforehand, Bryan had to stay hidden. But on the other hand, Bryan wasn't going to stay hidden, but Sting was the surprise. Sting was going to come out last. He was going to surprise everybody. He's going to surprise Darby. Literally, he was going to surprise everybody up there.
Darby
because
didn't
his
know.
whole thing, the whole thing was for Sting to be up there, surprise everybody. He was going to encourage Darby to go for his dreams and go for that AEW World Championship. What was funny was when we finally got Sting in place, there were a couple of people, like fans and stuff, who were like coming in to use the restroom, and there's Sting standing right there, just like right behind, and literally a fan walks by, spots Sting, and Sting just looks at him and goes, shh. And the fan and literally just goes, okay, like he was just entrusted with a mission to not spoil that Sting was about to be
good brother
on stage. and yeah, we got to bring out Sting and do a great ticket on sale event. It was a whole lot of fun. There was meet and greets, all of that stuff. And next time we announce a ticket on sale event for a pay-per-view, definitely make sure you come out because you never know who you're going to see at these things. We had only announced initially Bobby, Thunder Rosa, Big Boom AJ, and Mercedes. And then we kind of added on as time went on, as people were like, hey, I want to be a part of that. Or, hey, I live in Texas, I'll be there. And so you never know who's going to show up to something like this, but you want to be a part of it if you ever hear it's happening in your town. And yeah, I got to have a blast with that. And all in tickets are on sale. It's going to be a great time.
And I mean, just to drill the point home, Texas All In, that is something that we are talking about extensively internally because it is literally our biggest show next year. It's our first U.S. stadium show ever. And if there's anything that AEW does well, it is pay-per-views. So we're going to show up big. We're going to show out. It's going to be a good time. So if you're in Texas, you have no excuse not to go. If you were thinking about traveling to a wrestling show next year, highly recommend that you prioritize this one. AEWTix.com. Definitely come out to Arlington, Globe Life Field for Texas All-In, y'all-in, as the kids say. So since this is a little behind the scenes, I've threatened Will with telling this story multiple times, but there is a unrestricted curse.
Oh, yeah. Yes. All right. Let's tell the story. Let's go. Unrestricted curse. Let us go with the unrestricted curse.
Okay, so breaking the fourth wall, which should be pretty obvious, but sometimes we record these episodes in advance because Will and I both travel for work and oftentimes can't be like in the same spot at the same time consistently every week to record. And the same goes for our guests because they're AEW talent, they're traveling around, they have media, all these sort of things, right? So Will, being in his creative position, sometimes knows a little bit more about what is happening in the show than I do. And we have used that to our advantage a couple of times. I'm not going to say when or where, but just know that it's happened a couple of times. So there have been specific instances where we're like, it's okay, we'll talk about this thing because it's definitely happening. And then it did not happen.
Right. And for what, and the thing is, they're usually like freak reasons. It's not like creative change or anything like that. It's like, oh, this person just like fell. And all of a sudden,
The easy one I can explain is what was the pay-per-view? It was Wrestle Dream, I think we were doing. One of the shows. It was Willow Nightingale was on the pay-per-view. And we had her on.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know where you're going with this one.
Right. We were going to talk about her match she had on Wednesday that basically led up to her being the number one contender for this match at a show. And then the person she was supposed to wrestle ended up getting sick and wasn't there. So we had to actually change the match last minute. And as we're finding this out at the last minute Wednesday morning, now mind you, this podcast is coming out like Thursday in the middle of the night. One of us, I don't remember who it was probably me, maybe you, where we had to like text our producer Stacy and just be like, hey, really sorry about this, but that match isn't happening. Can we like cut that part out?
And we talked about it as if it already happened. And
right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, how was that match? And she's like, oh, it was great. And it's like, I saw Willow that day. She's like, are we gonna have to like change that? I'm like, it's okay. We'll take care of it. It'll be great.
Yeah.
And there's been at least like 2 other instances in the last like 2 months where this has happened, where one of us has had to send the apology text of like, hey, sorry, this is last minute, but this thing didn't happen the way we talked about it would, even though we said it absolutely was going to. We need to change this. Yeah. So just goes to show that wrestling is a very organic thing that changes all the time.
Yeah, no, wrestling is it's living, it's breathing, and anything can happen. And but that's the beauty of what we do, right? Where it is truly unique in that sense, and where most other shows could like pause, shoot out of order, whatever. Yeah, you could do things out of order, whatever. But we can't do that. It's literally if we have to go live Wednesdays, we have to go live Saturdays. That's it. If it's not ready to go, we have to change the plans. And that's just how fluid professional wrestling can be. And there's millions of reasons why something might not be ready to go. Somebody can get sick, as you just talked about, or a flight might get missed. Flight gets canceled. There's so many reasons that
flights getting delayed is actually a really, really big thing that I found. There was one where there was a storm in Texas and like 160 American flights that day got delayed. And turns out half of our roster didn't show up to TV till like 4:00.
Yeah.
So
we've
it happens.
Had it happen. Yeah. And props to our roster for things like that, right? Because, everybody would love to have time in the ring before a show. But ultimately, if you can't get that time in the ring because, let's say a flight does get in at 4, you get to the arena at 5:30 and doors are at 6. It's like, that's it. You've got to, no matter what, the show's going to go on. It has to go on, and we're able to put the show on, and we're able to put the show on for you. And that's the beauty of what we do, and it makes it exciting. I love what we do, and I have such a good time with it. And AEWTix.com, if you've never been to an AEW show, we've got so many great events coming up in 2025 and so many cool new venues that I'm excited about, and ones we've never gotten to hit before. Like Revolution's going to be at Crypto, man. Like that's going to be really freaking cool. So definitely check those out and continue checking out this show because we've got a lot more on AEW Unrestricted right after all these messages in this break with Aubrey and Will. Stay tuned.
AEW Unrestricted, Aubrey and Will. We are talking about fun stuff happening behind the scenes. And speaking of behind the scenes, during this actual break, despite the fact that I talked about the unrestricted curse and how we can't talk about things that haven't happened yet, Will's like, oh, hey, maybe we can talk about this thing because we're definitely going to do it. And I'm like, no, we can't. We can't do it, Will. We can't. Sorry. Yeah. So that thing may or may not happen.
The money's already spent on that thing, but regardless, we're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to make Stacey do extra work again.
Yes.
Let
Merry,
it be.
Merry Christmas, Stacey. But yeah, we are going to be talking about World's End because World's End, at least, we've got the card as it exists so far. It's looking like a killer show. It's happening in Orlando, Florida. And AEWTix.com is the way to be a part of it. It's the last pay-per-view of 2024. And AEW always does it big on pay-per-view. You do not want to miss it. And talking about the card of World's End, we've got 3 guaranteed matches from the Continental Classic.
Guaranteed. Knock on wood.
Well, what I specifically mean is that we're going to see. We have announced that we will see
at the time of this airing.
Yes, we will see the winners of the gold and blue blocks take on the runners up from the opposing block, and the winners of those two will then in the finals face each other to determine the winner of the Continental Classic and the Continental Champion. I'm
excited.
There's a lot at stake here. It's going to be really, really cool. This is very different from what we did last year, where you really just got the final last year. Whereas now somebody is going to have to compete. Pretty much everybody's going to have to compete twice. At least the winners are going to have to compete twice. And that will determine who walks away with the championship.
I'm really excited. If there's anything that, I always say, we always do best at our pay-per-views, right? We always bring it. We always have, an incredible thing. But I think tournaments are the other thing that AEW truly excels at. Yes. And anytime we have a tournament on TV, it is just can't miss. You have to see everything because, and this Continental Classic, I think even more so than last year, just has so many pairings where I'm like, oh, that is a match I did not even know I wanted, but I need this, injected into my veins. Anything with Beast Mortos. I'm like, this is absolutely freaking unreal. And I know that my money is on Daniel Garcia to win the whole damn thing. I think it's really, really tricky after last year. And his words were sort of, that was his coming out party, right? That that was sort of when Daniel Garcia got to stand on his own. And just seeing kind of the growth that he has had in the last year and seeing him excel in all these matches. Plus, I just love working with Daniel Garcia. So anytime I've had a chance to do a match with him during the Continental Classic, I'm just like, look at you, man.
That's great. And it's I think it's going to be something special. And yeah, I was just saying to a friend yesterday that to me, AEW is at its best when it's about the possibilities. When you have those moments, when you see freaking Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega staring each other down at Arthur Ashe Stadium, and you're like, I did not think this was possible. And all of a sudden it's happening right in front of me, right? Or the moment, even this past summer, where when Will Ospreay won the second Casino Gauntlet, and all of a sudden he's the number 1 contender to face Swerve Strickland, and these two come face to face, and you're like, my God, this was not a match that I considered possible. And now, and beyond when it happened 8 years ago, but yes. All of a sudden,
which I think there was a breakdance sequence also, yes, by the way, so very different match.
Very different match, but thinking
still
about the
awesome.
fact
very
that
different.
Those two went back so far. And I remember sitting in Gorilla when the doors were open for Forbidden Door, and just as people were getting let into the building, they were all screaming, "Let's go Ospreay, let's go Swerve." And it was literally the doors just opened and everybody is ready for that main event. Because again, when AEW is about the possibilities, that's when things feel good. And the Continental Classic introduces those possibilities. Thinking about this past Wednesday with Will Ospreay and Darby Allin, again, possibilities. That's what it's about. And speaking of which, we've got a lot more happening at World's End. For the International Championship, Konosuke Takeshita defending the title against Powerhouse Hobbs.
Dude, Dude, I'm so stoked for this.
Yes.
It's
Look,
gonna be good.
honestly, thinking about, Hobbs and his role in the Don Callis family and how it was really only just getting started. He hadn't been in the group that long when he went down with injury, and they didn't call him. And that was enough to set him off, and now he's out to take the International Championship away from the Don Callis family, away from Konosuke Takeshita. We also have a Tijuana street fight between Thunder Rosa and Mariah May.
Dude.
Thunder Rosa, of course, has Mariah May's number. Look, she has beaten her before. This was not the AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May, though, and I think that there's a lot that Mariah's got to prove. She is looking to continue to hold on to her AEW Women's World Championship, and I think with Toni Storm looming, although she reintroduced herself to me the other day, I don't know what that was all about, and so
she's all elite again.
I'm
not sure.
Yeah,
I'm happy for her regardless. I'm just like, all of her success is well deserved.
Yes. We also have for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, MJF versus Adam Cole.
Which is really cool considering this is happening at World's End, considering last year at World's End, MJF lost the title to Samoa Joe, and then it was revealed that Adam Cole was the one behind the scheme the whole time. So now for all of that to sort of culminate back at that same pay-per-view a year later, this is really cool.
Yes, it's very cool. And of course, AEW World Championship on the line in a 4-way. Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy versus Hangman Adam Page versus Jay White in a 4-way match. That's going to be awesome. Look, everybody there has a claim to the AEW World Championship in the sense that you look at Hangman Adam Page, a man who is a former AEW World Champion and has been looking to get back to that title for a couple of years now. You've got Orange Cassidy, who has been head-to-head with Jon Moxley, and he's beaten Jon Moxley before. He beat him at Full Gear in 2023, and to him, as he said, he's not even interested in becoming AEW World Champion. He just wants Jon Moxley to lose it. But you look at Jay White, a man who last year in the Continental Classic pinned Jon Moxley, and that was their last one-on-one encounter. So in his mind, he's got Jon Moxley's number. And so when you think about just all of these things, every single one of these guys has staked their claim to the AEW World Championship. They want it out of that briefcase. They want to see that gold again paraded around the ring, and the only way you do it is by taking it off of Jon Moxley, and only one man's going to be able to do it, and that happens at World's End, December 28th, Edition Financial Arena, AEWTix.com, or you can catch it on pay-per-view. You can catch it on YouTube. You can catch it on all of our pay-per-view platforms, ppv.com or Triller. AEW World's End. It's going to be great.
Hell yeah.
And a bonus note, because I also wanted to talk about a show that's happening right after that, which is Wrestle Dynasty, happening at the Tokyo Dome. And Wrestle Dynasty is going to be awesome. Talking about the fact that joint production between New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and CMLL, thinking about the fact that this is something that people always said they wanted to see, right? Whenever we do Forbidden Door, people are like, when are you guys going to do it in Japan? And it's like, well, that was kind of up to New Japan because, Forbidden Door is on our turf. Let's see what New Japan and let's see what they're able to do at the Tokyo Dome. And we've got Wrestle Dynasty, and just thinking about some of the major matches that, Willow Nightingale just recently qualified on Collision to become a part of the International Women's Cup, and just before that, 2 nights prior to that, Athena qualified to also be a part of it. So we've got Willow Nightingale, we got Athena representing AEW and Ring of Honor respectively. But then you've got Persephone from CMLL who is qualified, and we still don't know who is qualified for Stardom. But the winner of this match receives a championship opportunity at any of the other promotions' titles.
Whoa! I did not know that. That's crazy.
So, we could easily see Willow Nightingale. She could win. She could choose to challenge, of course, for the AEW Women's World Championship or the TBS Championship, or she could choose any of the belts in Ring of Honor, the Women's Television Championship or the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, or she can go back for her CMLL Women's World title in CMLL. She can go for any of the belts in Stardom. There's so much opportunity here. Or we could see somebody from outside choose to challenge for one of our titles. There's so much at stake here. It's such a great opportunity. The International Women's Cup winner, and to see it represented from 4 different promotions is just really cool. And I'm looking forward to seeing who qualifies from Stardom to complete this 4-way.
Yeah. No, this whole match, as soon as like I heard about it, because I think you had told me a little bit before it got announced. I won't say whose idea it was. But as soon as I heard it, I'm like, that's brilliant. Like, this is incredible. Let's put all of the women who are incredible and who have earned these spots on an international stage in a ring together. Like, it's so good. And to see like Athena and Willow to be the representatives from ROH and AEW respectively is so friggin' cool. Like, we've seen Willow kind of just come into her own this year. Like, she was already like just killing it in 2023. And then in 2024, I mean, she becomes TBS championship. She is the first person to face Mercedes Moné. She has this whole feud with Chris Statlander. She's just
she made
having
it to the
incredible
finals
matches.
of the Owen. Like,
exactly. Like,
she
she's
became
got all
CMLL World Women's Champion. Like, she
Yes!
kept pulling it off this year, and to be able to kick off 2025 like this will be really cool. But look, we got so many other matches on that card. Like, I highly recommend checking it out, because speaking of women's action, it was just announced this past week that Mercedes Moné will be going one-on-one with Mina Shirakawa, which is going to be just incredible. That is for the Strong Women's Championship. And if Mina Shirakawa is still the undisputed British Women's Champion, it's actually going to be for both championships on January 5th at the Tokyo Dome. There's also the Young Bucks made their return, and they're going to be challenging for the vacant IWGP Tag Team Championships, the opponents to be determined. But we at least know that the Young Bucks will be involved in that match. David Finlay is facing Brody King. We're going to see Shota Umino take on Claudio Castagnoli. We're going to see Tsuji take on Jack Perry. We're going to see, look, there's a lot happening here, but the match that's got everybody talking, of course, is the return to the ring of Kenny Omega as he goes one-on-one with Gabe Kidd. This is going to be an awesome show. I am so looking forward to that. There's so much more that can get announced between now and then. Day after the Tokyo Dome, or the day after Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom at the Tokyo Dome. Sorry, my Wrestle Dynasty's in my head, but we're going to see Wrestle Dynasty, AEW, New Japan. Again, just all of this family of promotions come together to put on this ultimate show in Tokyo. It's going to be awesome. I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be a great way to kick off the year.
I am really looking forward to starting my year with a completely messed up sleep schedule, because both of those shows will be airing very late in the middle of the night for me. But it's definitely going to be worth it to stay up and watch all of this. I think you said the family of promotions just all killing it. Like, that's the thing we always get out of Forbidden Door, is just watching all of these companies kind of come together and show off like the who's who represents them, and to see everyone succeed time after time, year after year, is just always so incredible. And you're incredible as well, and I love you. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you. No, I love you.
You
too,
also
Aubrey.
look very strapping in that polo from Upper Deck. So thanks for sending us some goodies, Upper Deck. By the way,
thank you, Upper Deck.
Right.
Yes.
As a reminder, AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2024 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autograph, memorabilia, or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. You can also watch this podcast and see all the cool stuff we unwrap, so you can get ideas of what Upper Deck actually offers as far as cool card options. You can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Check out video episodes so you can see Will's awesome polo on our YouTube channel at AEW
And our good friend
Unrestricted.
Nyla Rose as well.
Look at that. Oh, look at that card. That's freaking awesome. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. And are you an AEW insider? You could get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox so you know about it. Sign up today at AEWTix.com. Don't forget, Dynamite is on TBS Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and streaming on Max starting on January 1st. Hell yeah. AEW Rampage on TNT Friday at 10 p.m. AEW Collision live every Saturday on TNT. ROH streams every Thursday on Honor Club. I am Aubrey Edwards with my friend Will Washington. Thank you all for listening to AEW Unrestricted, and happy holidays. Bye, everybody.
Happy holidays.